Silence. Shanti. Good morning, students. In the last class, we discussed about solution, different types of solution, how to express the concentration of solution, how to express normality, molarity, molality, mole fraction, and how to calculate the strength of a particular solution. We discussed about the different kind of solid liquid solutions like saturated solutions, unsaturated solution, and super saturated solution. We discussed about the solid solutions. What are the different kind of solid solutions are there? That means the solutions where the solid is solid, the solvent is solid. So we discussed about the substitutional solids and also about the interstitial solids. Okay. Now today we will discuss about the solubility. Okay, solubility. So, what is solubility? Solubility is the maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in a given amount of solvent. The maximum quantity of solute that can be dissolved in a given amount of solvent is known as solubility. Now we discuss about how the solubility of a solute on solvent depends upon the different factors. Here we discuss two cases. One is how the solubility of a solid solute on liquid solvent is depending upon the different factors. Then after also we will discuss about the solubility of a gaseous solute on a liquid solvent, how it depends upon the different factors. So that we will discuss. Okay, so solubility of solid liquid solution, and also we have a solubility of gas liquid solution. So see, solubility of a solid liquid solutions. What are the factors that affecting the solubility of solid in a liquid? Number one, nature of solute and solvent. Here also same thing. Nature of solute and solvent. So see, here the solubility depends upon the golden principle called like dissolves like. We have what here? Like dissolves like. That means what? Polar solute may dissolve in what here? Polar solvent, and non-polar solute will dissolve in what here? Non-polar solvent. Okay, so solid liquid solutions you can say what, like dissolves like. If polar solids are dissolving in polar solvents and non-polar solids are dissolving in your non-polar solvents. Okay. If you come this case, what happens? Basically, polar and easily liquefiable gases are easily soluble. Okay. Polar and easily liquefiable gases are easily soluble. Okay. So this is how the solubility depends upon what, the nature of a solute. Next. Temperature. With increasing temperature, the solubility of a solid solute on a solvent increases. With increase of temperature, the solubility increases. For example, see, suppose I have a glass of water, a solvent, and I have some amount of sugar, 1-2 teaspoonful of sugar. If I add that tablespoon of sugar to a cold glass of water, and if I add the same sugar to a hot glass of water, then obviously the sugar in the hot glass of water will dissolve readily. Okay, as compared to the water, as compared to the cold water. That means the solubility increases with increasing temperature here. So here the solubility increases with increase of temperature, But if you go in case of gases, what temperature the solubility decreases. Solubility of gases decreases with increase of temperature. That's why we take the example of suppose aquatic animals in summer they are coming to the surface of the water to get oxygen, because in the deep water there is no oxygen because of the heat, because of the in summer due to more hot, the dissolved oxygen are coming out. The solubility of the oxygen in the water is decreasing in summer. That's why the aquatic animals, basically your fish, are coming to the surface of the water in the summer to get oxygen. Okay. So solubility decreases with increase of temperature. Okay. Stirring. Suppose you take a teaspoonful of sugar, put in a glass of water, okay, and you take another glass of water, take a teaspoonful of sugar and stir it. It will dissolve readily. So on constant stirring, the solubility of a solid substances increases in the solvent. So solubility increases with stirring. Solubility increases with stirring. But here in case of gases, okay, if you stir on stirring, the solubility decreases. On stirring, the solubility decreases. Okay, suppose if you take a bottle of soft drink, you just shake the soft drink, then you open the seal, immediately the gas will come out. Immediately the carbon dioxide gases present there will come out. But if it is still position, now just open the bottle, so the gas will not come out readily. Now you can take the example. So take a soft drink bottle, just shake it, then you open, immediately the carbon dioxide gas will come out. That means what? The solubility of the gas is decreasing on stirring or on shaking. The solubility decreases of the gas. Okay. Then your size of crystal. The solubility of a solid insoluble liquid solvent increases with the decrease in size of the crystal. Simple example, if you take pieces of sugar crystal and powder sugar crystals, so generally the powdered forms will be dissolved readily. Okay, because less size, particle size are very less, so they can dissolve immediately. Okay, so particle size is small, then the solubility will be more. But here there is no need of the particle size because these are the gases. Again, another one pressure, because the solids are dissolving in liquids, so pressure, I think pressure has no such effect. But however, we take in the case of gases, the increase of pressure increases the solubility. More the pressure, more is the solubility of the gases on the liquid. Same example you can take the example of a soft drink bottle. Okay, so the carbon dioxide gases are dissolved in the carbonated water, okay, in the soft drink bottle, so by applying pressure, high pressure, so that the excess carbon dioxide will be on the surface of the above the surface of the liquid. So when you open the cap, the excess carbon dioxide will come out. Okay, so the solubility of the gases increases with increasing pressure. More you give the pressure, so more will be the solubility of the gas. If you open the cap of the soft drink bottle, so gradually the pressure will decrease and gradually the solubility of the gas will decrease and all the gas will come out from the liquids. Okay, that's why we are not getting the taste of that carbon dioxide gases. Okay, so if you kept open the bottle of the soft drink bottle, if you kept open the cap of the soft drink bottles, and after some time you will find that is only water or only the sweet waters are there, no carbon dioxide gas will be there, because we open the cap, the pressure has reduced gradually and that's why the solubility of the gases is decreasing. However, the effect of solubility of the gas on the liquid is governed by a law called what? Henry's law. Okay, so the effect of solubility of gases on the liquids we will discuss with the help of what? Henry's law. Okay. So now what is your law? What is Henry's law? Henry's law. So what says it? The solubility of a gas in a liquid depends upon its partial pressure over the surface of the liquid. The solubility of a gas in a liquid is proportional to the partial pressure of the gas present above the surface of the liquid at a particular temperature. So generally, if we measure the solubility of the gas in terms of mole fraction, if you express the solubility in terms of mole fraction, so then what you can say, the solubility of the gas proportional to mole fraction of the gas, or P gas is equal to KH gas, X gas. So here K is equal to what? Henry's constant. Okay. P gas is what? Equilibrium partial pressure, and S gas is what? The mole fraction of the gas. So the solubility of a gas in a liquid is proportional to the partial pressure of the gas above the surface of the liquid. Now, if we express the solubility in terms of mole fraction, then the P of gas proportional to X of gas, or P of gas equal to KH X of gas, where KH is what your Henry's constant, P of gas is what your equilibrium partial pressure of the, and X is what your mole fraction of the gas, which is going to soluble. Okay. So now, and this solubility basing upon this law, this solubility. So there are several applications. Already we have discussed the applications of the solubility of the gas of a soft drink. In a soft drink, so the gas in a carbonated beverages, the carbonated gas is being dissolved in solids, and that depends upon the partial pressure. So more the pressure, more the solubility. Okay. Similarly, when you go to the hill stations, high altitudes, the partial pressure of the oxygen so decreases. The oxygen level decreases there. That's why the oxygen level in the blood is decreasing. The solubility of the oxygen and the blood also here decreasing. That's why we are suffering with different kind of disease. Even if feeling the tiredness, okay, anorexia, okay, even if the unable to think properly, so this kind of things are happening when we are going to the high altitude, or when for a mountain climber. So this kind of problems are arising because of what? Because of the solubility of the gas is decreasing. Okay, clear? So this is about the Henry's law. Now next we will discuss what is the vapor pressure. Vapor pressure. What is vapor pressure? See, whenever we are having, suppose a liquid, we are having a liquid here, Now these liquids are evaporating from the surface of the liquid. Called evaporation. Called evaporation. Okay. Suppose this vessel is closed. Okay. Now see this water particle evaporating, coming here and striking on this wall. Now when this water particle is coming and striking on the wall, so it is losing energy. Okay. So now this water particle now is in the form of vapor. This water particle from the surface is evaporating as vapor. Means in the gaseous form. That means it is in the high energy state. So when this vapor is coming and striking on this wall, losing energy, okay, so that this water vapors are condensing again and coming as what? As liquid again. So we have many water vapors forming on the surface of the liquids and going there, and gradually also some water vapors are condensing and coming again as liquid. So after a particular time period, so what happens? The number of water particles converting into vapors, and again the vapors condensing into liquid will be equal. That is called equilibrium position. So equilibrium position is the position where the number of water particles converting into vapors is again equal to the number of vapors condensing into liquid. And at this equilibrium position, the vapors are having the pressure called the vapor pressure. Called what? Vapor pressure. So what is vapor pressure? Vapor pressure is the pressure exerted by the vapors in equilibrium with the liquid. Okay. So vapor pressure is the pressure exerted by the vapors over the surface of the liquids when the vapor and the water are in equilibrium. Okay, so it is also called what? Equilibrium vapor pressure is called. Okay, vapor pressure is the pressure exerted by the vapors at the equilibrium conditions where the water particles condensing into vapor and the when the water particles are converting into vapor and vapors condensing into liquids, okay, are at equilibrium, and pressure at that position is called vapor pressure. Okay. Now, so this vapor pressure depends upon how many particles are converting into vapor at the surface. Here depends. Vapor pressure depends upon the number of particles converting into vapor at the surface, and this vapor pressure is depending upon what? Temperature. More the temperature, more is the vapor pressure. Okay. And if the with increasing temperature, the vapor pressure what increases. Okay. And vapor pressure depends on what? The intermolecular forces. If among the molecules the intermolecular force is more, then what happen? The vapor pressure will be less. That means less particles will evaporate. So vapor pressure will be what? Less. Now, if some amount of solute will be dissolved in this water, that means this become a solution, then the vapor pressure will be reduced. If you add more and more amount of solute on the solvent, then the vapor pressure of solution will be decreased. Why? So you see, simply vapor pressure is the pressure exerted by the vapors of the liquid at the equilibrium conditions, and vapors are being created from the surface of the liquid, from the surface. Now surface, so when we have solid particles, when we are adding the solids are already occupying some space in the surface, so the number of particles converting into vapors reduces. That's why vapor pressure reduces. So whenever we are making a solution, the vapor pressure of solution will be less as compared to the pure solvent. Whatever solvent we have, it is having its own vapor pressure. Now when we add solute to it, they will occupy some surface area, so accordingly the vapor pressure of the solution will be decreased. Okay. So vapor pressure of solution is less than what? Than a solvent. Clear? Now, so if you increase the temperature, the vapor pressure of the liquids will increase. Okay, and gradually the vapor pressure of the liquid will be equal to the atmospheric pressure, and the temperature at which the vapor pressure will be equal to the atmospheric pressure is called the boiling point of that liquid. Okay, so generally I have already told you the vapor pressure increases with the increase of temperature. So now let's take this liquid and you supply heat, you increase temperature. So when you increase temperature, the vapor pressure will be more and more, it will increase. And the vapor pressure are increasing at a point, the vapor pressure will be equal to the atmospheric pressure, and the temperature at which the vapor pressure of the liquid is equal to the atmospheric pressure is known as a boiling point of that liquid. Okay, so boiling point is the temperature at which the vapor pressure of the liquid is equal to the atmospheric pressure. And see, so whenever we are taking a solution, I have already told you, whenever we are taking a solution, we have the solute and solvent. So solvent is having a standard vapor pressure. Now when you add solute, it becomes solution. So, and already I have told you, vapor pressure of solution is less than that of the solvent. Because on adding the solutes are occupying some surfaces of the liquid, hence the number of particles which are converting to vapors becomes less, that's why the vapor pressure becomes less. So because the vapor pressure becomes less, so we have to supply more and more temperature to increase the vapor pressure, so that that pressure will be equal to the atmospheric pressure. That means the boiling point of the solution will be more, because the vapor pressure is less here, and this is called elevation in boiling point, that we will discuss separately. Okay, so when you are making a solution, the vapor pressure is decreasing, hence the more temperature is required to boil the solutions. Okay, so these are the different factors that is affecting what your vapor pressure. Okay. And also we discovered the boil point. Now what is your freezing point? Then your freezing point is the temperature at which the vapor pressure of the liquid and solid becomes equal. Okay, so freezing point, already we have discovered the boiling point. Okay, boiling point is the temperature at which the vapor pressure of the liquid is equal to the atmospheric pressure. Okay, and freezing point is the temperature at which the vapor pressure of solid and liquid both become so equal. Clear? Now we will discuss about what a law related to the vapor pressure called what Raoult's law. Called what Raoult's law. So vapor pressure of solution and Raoult's law So what is Raoult's law? See, suppose we have a solution हो जो vapor pressure is what PS. Vapor pressure of solution is what PS. And we have solvent vapor pressure of a pure solvent with your PA naught. Okay, and we have vapor pressure of solvent over the solution. Let me see, when it is in the solution, PA suppose. Okay, and suppose we have the vapor pressure. Let me discuss about this. Okay, so what says, if we have the PS at the vapor pressure of the solution, PA naught vapor pressure of the pure solvent, and PA is the vapor pressure of the solvent over the solution. That means when the solvent is mixing with the solute. Okay, so when we have your solute plus solvent, PA. Okay, then and suppose we have the non-volatile solute. We have what is the non-volatile solute. Okay, suppose we have a non-volatile solute present in a solution. So we have the solute and the solvent. This solute is non-volatile. That means this is not giving any vapors. So the vapors is only of the solvent. So you can say the vapor pressure of the solution is equal to what? Vapor pressure of the solvent. Okay. So vapor pressure of, that means I can say PS is equal to PA. And this vapor pressure of the solution, that is the solvent containing the non-volatile solute, is proportional to mole fraction of the solute. You can say XB. Mole fraction of solvent. Mole fraction of solvent. XO solvent. You can say PSO solute X of A. Okay, so the vapor pressure of solution is proportional to mole fraction of the solvent. That is what you know, PSO proportional to X of A, but X of A is what you know, mole fraction of the solvent. Or you can write PSO is equal to PA not XA. P is equal to what you know, PA not XA. That means the vapor pressure of solution is the product of vapor pressure of the solvent, pure solvent, into its mole fraction. Okay, this is called what you know, Raoult's law. Raoult's law for non-volatile solutes. For non-volatile solute. Okay, so vapor pressure of a solvent over a solution containing a non-volatile solute is proportional to the mole fraction of the solvent. If Ps is the vapor pressure of the solution, Pa is the vapor pressure of the solvent over the solutions containing non-volatile solute, then Ps is equal to Pa. Okay. Now this PSO proportional to what you know, mole fraction of the solvent. That is what you know, PSO proportional to your XA. Right. So what is XA? XA is what? XA is what you know, mole fraction of solvent. So what I can write? PSO proportional to XA or PS equal to PA0 XA. Or also I can write what PA is equal to PA0 XA. PA is equal to what? PA0 XA, where PA is the vapor pressure of the solvent over the solutions containing non-volatile solute. Pa naught is the vapor pressure of the pure solvent. XA is the mole fraction of the solvent. So this is called what you know, Raoult's law for the vapor pressure of solution containing a non-volatile solute. Okay. Suppose we have a volatile solute. Suppose we have what would be volatile solute. Okay. So if we have the volatile solute, okay. Let me suppose XA is what you know, mole fraction of X is what you know, mole fraction of solvent. XB is what you know, mole fraction of your solute. Okay. Suppose PA is what you know, vapor pressure of solvent over the solution. Okay. And PA0 vapor pressure of what? Pure solvent. PB vapor pressure of solute. Okay. And PB0 is the vapor pressure of pure solute. Okay. So let A is volatile, B is volatile, solid and solvent both are volatile. Then what I can write? I can write PA is equal to PA0 XA and PB is equal to PB is equal to PB0XB. That means when the solute and solvent both are volatile, then I can say PSO is equal to what? PA plus PB. Here the vapor, what you can say, the vapor pressure of a component, okay, in a solution is the product of the vapor pressure of that component and the pure state into its mole fraction. Okay, so PA equal to PA0XA and PB equal to PB0XB. So this is called part of the Raoult's law. Okay, so next we will discuss what is the colligative properties of dilute solutions. So solutions we discuss different kinds. Now we will discuss the properties of dilute solutions. That means those solutions where the concentrations are basically low concentration of solids are there. So the colligative properties of dilute solutions are those properties which are depending upon the number of solute particles, the number of moles of solute particles. If a particular property is depending upon the number of moles of the solute, then the property is known as a colligative property. And we have properties like relative lowering in vapor pressure. Number 2, elevation in boiling point. Elevation in boiling point. Number 3, depression in freezing point. Number 4, osmotic pressure. So these 4 are the important colligative properties. Relative lowering in vapor pressure (RLVP), elevation in boiling point, depression in freezing point, and osmotic pressures are the properties which are depending upon the number of moles of solute. Okay, that is number of solute particles. That's why these are called colligative properties. So now we will discuss whether, or we will check whether these properties are colligative or not. That means whether these properties are depending upon the number of solute particles or not. If depends, then it's a colligative property, and again we will try to calculate the molecular mass of solute from these colligative properties. Okay. So let's see, first of all, relative lowering in vapor pressure. Relative lowering vapor pressure is a colligative property. Okay, see how. From Raoult's law, we have PS is equal to PA0XA. PS equal to PA0XA, and we know PS is the vapor pressure of the solution, PA0 is the vapor pressure of the pure solvent, and XA is the mole pressure of the solute. Here one thing you remember, the solutions containing the non-volatile solute. Okay, here what you know, solution containing non-volatile solute. Okay, or PSO is equal to PA0 1 minus XB. We have XA plus XB equal to 1. Mole fraction of solute and mole fraction of solvent is equal to 1. Already we have discussed in the last class. So XA equal to 1 minus XB. So what I can write? PAS by PA0 equals 1 equal to 1 minus XB, or you can write 1 minus PS by PA0 is equal to XB. Okay, or you can write PA0 minus PSO by PA0 is equal to XB. Okay, now PA0 minus PS is what? Lowering in vapor pressure, because PA0 is the vapor pressure of pure solvent. Already I have told you that whenever we are adding solute to the solvent, the vapor pressure of solutions becomes less. It is decreasing. How much decreasing? Vapor pressure of solvent minus whatever pressure now we are having in the solution. So PA0 PS. PA0 is the initial pressure of the pure solvent and PS is the final pressure of the solution. So after adding the solute, so PA0 minus PS is the lowering in vapor pressure. Okay, and lowering vapor pressure relative to the solvent, pure solvent PA0 is called what? Relative lowering in vapor pressure. Okay, so PA0 minus PSO by PA0 is called what? Relative lowering in okay, in vapor pressure. Or you can add PA0 minus PS equal to what? Delta P by PA0 what? Relative lowering in vapor pressure. So what you can write? Delta P by PA0 is equal to what? XB. That means the relative lowering in vapor pressure is equal to mole fraction of the solute. Okay, or you can write delta P by PA0 is equal to mole fraction of solute XB equal to what? NB by NA plus NB. But we have taken dilute solutions. That means the NB is very less, small amount of solutions we have taken. For dilute solution, NB is less than N. Therefore, from the denominator, we can say delta P by PA naught is equal to NB by NA. So, relative lowering in vapor pressure depends upon the number of moles of substance. That's why relative lowering vapor pressure is a colligative property, because of delta P by PA0. You see, delta P by PA0 depends upon NB by NA, number of moles of solute by number of moles of solvent. But delta P is not a colligative property. Delta P is what? Simply lowering vapor pressure. Okay, so delta P relative to PA0, that means what? Relative lowering vapor pressure now depends upon what? The number of moles. So it's a colligative property. Clear? Now how to calculate the molecular mass from this one. See, okay, is that clear? Okay, simply from Raoult's law, solution equal to non-volatile solid to PS equal to PA0 XA. So PS equal to PA0 1 minus XB because XA plus XB equal to 1. Now PS by PA0 is equal to 1 minus XB. So 1 minus PS by PA0 equal to XB. Okay. Now PA0 minus PS by PA0 equal to XB. So this PA0 minus PS is the lowering vapor pressure, and this is called what? Relative lowering vapor pressure. Okay. Now this is equal to what? XB. So is your mole first number solute. Okay. Now XB equal to NB by NA plus NB. And because NB is very small, because we are taking very direct solutions, so NB is very small, number of moles of solid is very less. So NA plus NB from the denominators can be taken NA. NB can be taken 1. So very negligible. So NA plus NB equal to NA. So we can delta PA by PA equal to NB by NA. Now how to calculate the molecular mass? Okay. So calculation of what your calculation of molecular mass delta P by PA naught is equal to what? NB by NA. So NB what? Number of moles of B equal to what? Mass of B by molecular mass of B. Okay, divided by what? Number of moles of A equal to what? Mass of A by molecular mass of A. Okay, so what you can write to delta P by PA naught is equal to WB by MB into MA by WA. Okay, so what you can write to MA is what? MA is what? Molecular mass of solvent. MB what? Molecular mass of solute. Okay. Now WB is what? Weight of solute. WA is what? Weight of solvent. Okay. So what you can write now? MB equal to, so MB is equal to WB to MA by AA into del P by PA naught. Okay, so this you can write MA by AA, okay, and WB by MB. Okay, so del P by PA naught into MB is equal to WB into MA by AA. Okay, so MB equal to WB into MA by AA into del P by PA naught. So in this way we can calculate the molecular mass of the solid to MB. Okay, so this is called what? Relative lowering in vapor pressure is a colligative property, and from this we have proved that this is property, and again we have calculated the molecular mass of solute from the relative lowering in vapor pressure. Okay, let us have a numerical on this. Now see, this is the numerical based on the relative lowering vapor pressure. The vapor pressure of a solution containing 5 gram of non-volatile solute divided by WB equal to 5 gram. 95 gram of water, that means what? WA is what? 95 gram. Okay, found to be 745 mm of mercury. That is vapor pressure of solution PS 745 mm of mercury. Okay, calculate the molecular mass of solute, that is what? MB we have to calculate, and MA we know 18. Vapor pressure of water is what? 760 mm of mercury. So your PA naught is what? 760 mm of mercury. Okay, so we have delta P by PA naught is equal to what? PA naught minus PS by PA naught. PA naught given, PA naught how much given? 760. PS what euro? 745 divided by 760 equal, we will get what euro? 0.02. Okay, mm of mercury. Now we have W MB. We have MB equal to WB into MA by del P by P02 into MA. So WB how much? 5 into MA how much? 18 divided by del P by PA0 how much? 0.02 into MA how much? Sorry, MA by this is your double A how much? 95. Okay, so this equal to get what euro? 47.3cc gram per mole. So this is about what you relate to lowering vapor pressure numerical. Okay, in the next class we will discuss about the other collinear properties like depression freezing point, elevation boiling point and osmotic pressure. Okay, thank you.